Hello, everybody. Oh, are we going live? Or are we live? We're live. Hi, everybody.
Howdy.
Welcome to the Patreon live stream. We're doing this live, so I can't edit that out. Hi, everybody. By the way, if you have any questions, this is a great time to ask them because we can talk directly to you. So just be thinking of those questions. Feel free to comment in the chat so that way we can answer your questions, and we're going to be talking about a couple different things today. So if you, have any thoughts, please be free to chat with us. This is the perk that you deserve. We're currently checking on VD Vic I Live.
Vicky? Vidi Vic I Live. Do you have a different Patreon name? Because I can't sure that you're gonna get your T-shirt and stuff. Usually, what we do is when you set up your account, we send you off a message that says like what's your address and what's your T-shirt size. So hopefully you've gotten a message like that. It might have been sent to you on Patreon, and a lot of times I know that people don't really check their Patreon because that's not really a thing you check.
Right.
So maybe check there first. But yeah, basically the guys do it, I would say, once a month or so. They go through and update. So if you're just a new Patreon, that's probably why you may not have gotten that yet. But we do send them all out, and we do ask you for your T-shirt size. So and this might be a good time to just remind everybody that we've got all sorts of cool perks. And one of the things that we're trying to figure out, Jesse and I, is always trying to figure out what kind of perks you guys want. We talk a lot about like coasters. We've made some cool coasters out of pallet wood that are recycled, and then we laser cut our Now You Know logo on them. And we're just trying to figure out like what level that would be good to send out.
Right. Or if it's or if we're gonna have to start doing merch or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you guys interested in merch?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, obviously you get merch, but I mean, I'm wondering, maybe you just want to buy it. I'm going to scoot this over here so we can read the comments. There we go.
Lewis is on his first live stream with us. We're excited too, Lewis. Feel free to drop us a question in there or a comment. We love reading them. Basically, they appear on the side of our screen here as we're talking to you guys. So we just keep glancing over there to see what people are talking about. It's Bill's first time too. Hi, Bill. Now Sean says you got my everything a couple days ago. What's your everything? Is that all the perks that we sent you? Or is that your Model 3? Like, what is he talking about?
I think that's all of his perks, but
okay.
But he can obviously clear that up, which is the great part about the live stream, of course.
Right.
One of the other perks we were thinking about was doing like a live story from Tesla Time News. So it would probably be on Sundays, between something, and basically you'd get a little uncut preview of a story that we would probably think was going to run long, that we were going to have lots of extra dialogue talking about that no one would get to see otherwise because it would just end up on the cutting room floor. That's an idea, something that we've been thinking about.
Almost like if Jesse went into a rant. I don't know. You don't get to see this sometimes, but sometimes we get so upset when we're doing a story that we start to rant, and we've got to cut some of it out because it just comes too ranty.
You'd be able to see it live, and it's a thought. We're not sure what level to put that at. I think it would be below the $8 level, so all of you guys would be able to see it. So yeah, we're just sort of thinking about that.
Yeah.
Because we want to make it exciting to be a Patreon of different levels and have lots of incremental steps. So if you're like, well, I definitely want the T-shirt, you're also going to get a whole bunch of other stuff, and including this.
Because let's give you a little behind the scenes here. I mean, Jesse and I don't get paid. We need to raise money for the show because we have a lot of things that we have to buy, like microphones, and editors and computer rigs. These computer rigs, like we've got a stack. You can't see it over there, but we've got a stack of hard drives. and
let me grab the ones that aren't plugged in.
Okay, yeah,
just stuff that we're just
like we fill up hard drives so fast.
Right. All of our footage. Because hopefully someday we'll have to cull through it and put together some kind of a documentary or something.
Well, it's also because we just need to, like, if we've got footage from, say, like when we went to Denmark or Sweden, and then if we're putting together a story and we need to grab some footage, we need to go find it and use it. So anyway, the show it costs a lot of money to put on the show. It's
Right.
a weekly, not only the 2 weekly shows, but then all the other, like we went and did that Alta motorcycle show that you saw, and lots of equipment, lots of camera people, lots of traveling and all that stuff.
Yeah, travel might be an expensive thing for
Good
exciting stuff.
I mean, for instance, we were invited to the SpaceX announcement of sending someone to the moon, right? So we first of all, they only sent the announcement 2 days before it.
Kind of lame.
The SpaceX media department is not like on the ball in terms of timing.
I think it's for bigwig news reporters who are able to catch a private flight to.
There were some low level reporters there.
I mean, if you really
and I would have loved to have been there. And so we got the invite. Like we could have gone. It's just that we live on the East Coast and they are on the West Coast. And so for us to get last minute flights and stuff would have cost a lot of money. And we had to make a hard decision that no, it wasn't worth it. Right. But I would have loved to have been in that room filming our own version of it for you guys. And that's the kind of thing we're constantly having to debate, is what to cover, what not to.
Right.
And it's exciting for us because we actually got an invite. Like we're high enough now. We've talked to enough people over there that we're going to start to get to cover stuff like that.
Right.
So that's why we're always talking about Patreon stuff, because we're trying to raise money for the channel. And unfortunately, YouTube doesn't really cut it. It's
really YouTube's monetization scheme is really made for vlogs and stuff that's appealing to 12-year-olds. Yeah. They just, they need more eyeballs really than there is a market really for people like us, people like you.
And if you notice on our shows, I mean, we do monetize our shows, but we don't do that thing where every 10 minutes or every 5 minutes there's a monetization. We put one, you get one ad thing at the beginning,
and that's all the way through.
We don't try and hit you with ads throughout, and we could make more money that way. Right. But we don't want to do that too, because I hate that. I hate watching a YouTube video where every 5 minutes it's an ad.
Right.
So yeah, Patreons, you guys rock, because you guys are supporting the show and you're making this possible.
Right.
And we just love you guys. So thank you.
Yeah.
I want to get back to some comments here. Jeffrey says some different posters. I love the one I got. Yeah, we do a signed poster at the $10 level. And yeah, we should start thinking about a new poster.
That's true. Yeah.
That would be a good idea. And just to mention, Jeffrey is one of our newsroom members.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if any of you are, sort of on the ball with the news, always checking, especially if you have your own little source of news, or what's going on in your little corner of the world, where assembling a team, kind of
we've assembled it.
We have a team.
The team is in place.
It's a pretty big team, but I mean, we can always grow. Basically, we just have a Slack channel or a Slack team full of, I think we're up to how many people? 50?
Yeah, over 50.
30 active users.
Right.
So not everyone is always posting stuff, but it's great because it's just this constant influx of information. And if any of you guys are interested in joining that, feel free to either leave a comment in this video or send us a private Facebook message or
a Patreon message.
Yeah,
we'll get you an invite. It's a Slack channel, and if you guys aren't familiar with Slack, it's just a communication app, and kind of like instant messaging in a way, and
like an organized instant messenger with a whole team. Yeah. And yeah, we've been able to find some really interesting stories from all around the world, because people are because the bigger news channels don't generally cover stories as in depth as, say, a very local news station, because those people are more interested in it. And usually if it's a story relating to what we're interested in, we want that take, we don't want the just this happened and this happened, and you're not really a lot of information there.
Right. Exactly.
So anyway, that's a bit of that.
Footy Neck Guy says you need a now not a flamethrower. I would be very worried to send you guys out a flamethrower after what I saw happened with Boring Company. Those flamethrowers are, I don't know, they're pretty intense.
Well,
have you seen some of the videos?
Flamethrowers.
They're not, but I mean, have you seen some people have started lighting balloons on fire and stuff? And
sure. I mean, keeping in mind that it's just a torch, I'm not too worried.
I know.
Whatever. If we were a Home Depot or an Ace Hardware or something that sold them, it's the same thing.
Yeah. No, I know.
Only would have.
It's just there's something about it being a gun that makes people go out and do crazy things with it. Yeah. Jeffrey loves the live story idea. How do I scroll? Here we go. And Michael says he would love a merch store. Okay, well that's good to know because
yeah,
gotta
thinking about it.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
Kevin says greetings from Eagle Wish with Wisconsin.
Eagle, Wisconsin.
Ooh, Eagle, Wisconsin. Nice. Jeffrey just offered something here. If you guys would like, I can build you guys a server with hundreds of terabytes. I have a 24 terabyte server. It would be a good thing to invest in. Wow,
That is a good
Jeffrey,
idea.
we might get in touch with you about
Yeah,
that.
that's probably a good idea. I mean, yeah, having having this not so organized.
It's kind of old fashioned, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's better than just a bunch of flash drives.
That's true. And then Jeffrey says, no, Kevin says everyday astronaut Tim Dodd from Iowa was there at the SpaceX announcement.
Yeah.
Again, and that would have been nice, like to go to that announcement and then meet up with cool people like
Yeah.
that. I mean, that's one of the main things I like about that is
Right.
meeting people. So,
Right.
and then getting to interview people like that. So that's exactly
true.
why we want to go to those things.
That's true. By the way, interviewing, I mean, we've just been having a grand old time, or well, you mostly, because you know, you're available during business hours, but interviewing people.
Yeah. There's so many cool people out there.
We've got some fun interviews on the way, and just really, that's a great, I love.
Yeah, when I look back at all the ones we've done so far, I mean, CEOs of companies and
Mhm.
all these cool climate change activists and stuff like that. Like, it's really cool to be able to reach out to them and get to talk to them and then get inspired by them.
Right.
I mean, people going to the South Pole on a solar powered tracker,
Yeah,
like, wow,
that's crazy.
that's cool. All right, so Matthew asked did you see Ben Sullins pull a trailer hitch on his Model 3? Looked pretty cool and functional. Yeah, I saw him. I saw the video where they added the trailer hitch. It's not a Tesla trailer hitch, but it works. You can put one on there. And I'm like, Tesla,
right?
Put the trailer hitch option on the Model 3. What are you waiting for, dude? It's not that complicated, is it?
Profitability, you think? Could be profitability.
I think no. I think it's production. I think they're just so stretched right now. They don't want to slow it down. But I think they should do it because what an awesome feature.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go to Europe,
right,
you see throughout Europe that there's trailer hitches. It makes so much sense. We could get rid of so many pickup trucks if we just had a trailer hitch. Because how often do you really need to tow stuff? Once a month, once every 6 months, you put a trailer on there, tow a Christmas tree or a couch, and then you unhitch it and you're done. Let's see. Sean says, yes, the perks. On another note, I was supposed to take delivery of Model 3 tomorrow, but car hasn't left California. Tesla says they don't know why, yet claim it'll be delivered on the 11th. I have heard this from people in Texas. I've not heard this yet from people in California, so that's too bad. It seems like Texas is a non-Tesla state.
I don't know if he is in California.
Oh, you're not in California. Yeah,
the car hasn't left.
Oh, Sean, what state are you in? Because there are some states like California, like Texas, where they're having trouble.
Right, and I mean, right now is like they're delivering more cars than they ever had.
But I will say, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things from so many Tesla buyers for the Model 3. But there have been a couple outliers where they said it was just horrible communications, and I hate to hear that. So, Sean, you're in PA, taking delivery in New Jersey. I hate to hear that because, first of all, we all know that there can be screw-ups that we kind of forgive as people, right? As long as there's good communication.
Right.
But I have been hearing that when they do screw up, they seem to compound it by not communicating well.
Right.
And that's not cool. No matter what company, you need to communicate and just say, hey, we own it. We screwed up. We're going to make it right. I heard one guy in Texas, they didn't make it right, and they gave him a Ford Focus instead of a Tesla as a loaner. And they finally just the other day got him a Tesla loaner. And it's like, dudes, for 2 weeks, don't make the guy drive around in Ford Focus.
Right.
Like, just,
Right. And I mean, if you're really having trouble, and I mean, I think we can talk about it here because this is small enough, I think.
Yeah. I don't know what he's
we've
about to
heard.
Say,
yeah. Well, we've heard that you can get unlimited supercharging for non-performance Model 3s.
Oh, yes. I do stress this to you.
Yeah.
If they're giving you trouble getting your Model 3, tell them to make up for it at least a little bit. Give me free supercharging for life.
Right.
I am almost positive they are authorized to do that, and they just need you to bitch a little bit, complain a little bit, be a squeaky wheel. Don't always be super nice. I know that Jesse and I are super nice when we deal with Tesla or any company, really.
Yep.
But sometimes if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, you should just step it up a little bit too and just ask for that. Melody says it'd be nice if you can quit your day jobs. That would be nice, Melody.
It would be nice.
What do you think, Jesse? Can you quit your day job?
At some point.
You're having fun at your job, though.
That's true. by the way, who asked? Kevin asked what our regular jobs are. So I am a materials engineer at a company called Desktop Metal. We're making a metal 3D printer that's going to be the best metal 3D printer in the whole world, and that's
Yeah, I mean,
cheapest. And
picture this for a second, guys.
well,
Like
not cheapest,
what
but
he's making is a machine that prints metal parts,
right,
and can print metal parts that you can't make any other way, like hinges that are, once you're done printing them, they are hinges. Like,
right. There's no like pin in the middle.
Right.
There's a lot of fun stuff that we're able to do with a lot of our processes, and working on a couple different products.
and he's an early employee in the company. In fact, he was an intern at the company.
It's true.
And then, like, your employee,
Right when I was still in school. I don't know what employee, but I mean, when I started, there were 12 people at the company. Now there's like 200, 250.
Wow.
So yeah, that's been a fun little
Fun little
fun
little thing.
My whole job kind of thing. So that's my 9 to 5.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
That's cool. I own a few businesses. I own an online poster company with Jesse called posterenvy.com. And Brent and Bobby used to work for that company, our editors, and now they still work for that company, but they're also busy doing stuff for Now You Know.
Mm-hmm.
We've also we're in a studio right now. There's a music studio. So we own Night Train Studios, which is a music recording studio where we record bands of all kinds, like the Anderson Brothers, who came in a few months ago. Just recorded their new album, Wind Power. Fantastic album. You guys should check it out. And we use a lot of their music on the cooking show, the vegan cooking show with Brent and Bobby. So if you ever want to hear them play, they're just the most fabulous saxophone players I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was something really cool. I got to combine, Now You Know channel, where they sent in a Supercharger review from Nebraska once when they were on tour.
Right.
And then went to one of their concerts, loved them, went out to dinner, talking, blah, blah, blah. And then hey, come record in my studio. And now we're best of friends.
Yep.
We go on electric sailboats together. Just check them out in New York. If you guys are ever in New York in the summertime, they do this summer series called the Songbook Summit, and it is fantastic. You guys should go to that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Poster Envy studio, and then a music publishing company called Black Cloud Productions, where we produce music and publish music for TV shows and film. Like we're on HBO's Vice and their nightly show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we get to write music and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, lots of fun things. Let's see.
Are we going to help with Tesla deliveries?
We talked about that.
We want to.
I mean, basically, we just shot a series of videos. Part 1 just came out called Complete Model 3 Guide.
Complete Guide to the Model 3.
And so we hoped that would kind of supplement some of Tesla's videos.
Right.
Because, I mean, they have great videos, but we kind of wanted to give our take on how, because we've driven the Model 3 now for months.
Get as deep as we can. And I mean, pretty soon we're going to need to update that, because there'll be the version 9 software, which will be completely different. So we'll have to we might even have to take down the old video. I think that kind of makes sense, because I don't want to mislead people. Yeah, people will be like, wait a minute, what gear icon?
So yeah, we thought that would be helpful, but here's the reason why they need humans there, because a lot of people are like, well, just send them to your video. Yeah, but when you're picking up a car, you need to be told things like, wait a minute, now what button do I push to make this move?
Right.
And
how do I actually put it into park?
Right. You need a human there to tell you a few things
and make sure that you've understood them.
Right. And so go for little test rides and point things out. So we were talking about that. I mean, we are just half an hour from a Tesla showroom service center in Dedham. And yeah, I mean, I heard the other day unofficially that they were pushing out more than 100 Model 3s a day. So that's why they need humans there, because they just, I mean, there's paperwork you do, but then there's also just okay, Mrs. Smith, do you understand how the car works?
Right.
And you want to make sure, here's something I heard. I heard that someone got in the car the other day just after there's one of their first days having it. And they were in their driveway, and they just wanted to put it into autopilot. And I want to mention, and I should probably tell people this, you can't
that's not how it works.
Right. You don't get in the car and just go into autopilot. You have to start driving yourself until the car can see lines on the road at the moment. Now, someday soon, hopefully you will be able to get in the car and put it in autopilot. That'd be great. But now autopilot doesn't mean super duper AI. It means it's a driver assistance program.
Right. It's not full. It's not That's why it's called autopilot.
But if we get a chance this week, we are going to sneak down there and do that.
Yeah, maybe Thursday.
Okay.
We'll have to find.
All right. Melody asked, do you know what the latest update was on my Model X? Well, I don't know there's so many things now. I don't know if you have hardware level 2 or what. My latest update was the PIN. So now you put in a 4-digit PIN if you want to lock your car. So if you're parking, let's say, at a place you're not feeling so secure about, you can put a 4-digit PIN in. And then if someone breaks in your car, even if they like stole your phone or your fob,
right?
They wouldn't be able to drive it. So that's kind of cool.
Really cool.
And that's totally up to you whether you want to use that. The other thing it updated was, you know how you're hearing from a lot of Tesla drivers now that you're being nudged more often, you're being nagged more often to hold the wheel when you're in autopilot. And it's about every 45 seconds to a minute now, which is a lot more frequent than it used to be. And so a lot of drivers are like, oh, you're nagging me too much. Well, now you can use the wheels or the buttons on the steering wheel. You can also use any of the other, like the stocks to let the car know that you're alive. And so what I've heard a lot of drivers are starting to do is just like nudge their volume up 1, nudge their volume down 1 whenever it nags them, or change the distance from the car in front of you 1, back 1. It's easier than nudging the wheel sometimes for some people. I don't know. That might be the update, Melody. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Jay says, hey, Zach and Jesse, love your show. Alexandria, Virginia. I bought a Model S CPO. Tesla still has my $1,000 for the Model 3. Have you heard anything about converting it for a Model Y reservation? I have not.
Yeah, I think it depends on when you put in your Model 3 reservation. Well, it doesn't. Scratch that. You can just take your money out and hold on to it, invest it, do whatever you want to do with it. And then when the Model Y comes out, you can reinvest it. If you're early in line, maybe someone at this point, I don't think it makes much sense.
Like, are you holding it there because you're hoping to be early in line for the Model Y? Is that why you're holding it there?
I don't think it'll work like that.
I don't think it will either.
But,
and I'm also thinking that if Tesla was smart, they would up the reservation amount for the Model Y to give them more capital, raise it to 2,000.
Right.
But who knows if they'll do that?
Who knows what will happen?
Venny wants to know. Oh, my latest update is the 3.6.2.
I'm not.
Yeah, I don't
read that.
Venny wants to know, when do you receive your Patreon merch? Like I said earlier, we send it out. The boys go through the list about once a month, and so they'll get your sizes and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like the second you sign up, but it's soon after.
Yep.
Kevin says, I saw a Model 3 owner at the Madison NDEW, so that must be the Electric Weekly
National Drive Electric Week. Yeah.
Who self-installed his own trailer hitch for just adding a bike rack hauler. Can't be that hard if you are handy. Yeah, there's a video from Ben Sullins where he works with Jerry Riggs, and they put one on, so you can go check that out. Can it be that hard? Probably not that hard, but you do have to pull off the back bumper.
And I don't want to do that.
I'm
going to ask Rich to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's, I don't know. It's up to you, but yeah. And yeah, Sean says their communication is abysmal. Yeah, I don't know why that is. Well, I'm going to conjecture why Tesla's communication is abysmal. They hire a lot of 20-somethings. No offense, but a lot of 20-somethings aren't good at email. I don't think they understand the concept of email.
This is really stupid.
Well, email is stupid, but it's
leapfrogged it at this point. But
we have accepted. Well,
keeps clinging to it.
Okay, but here's why. It's a very easy place to go check your. You can go back and see things. I mean, texts are, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, that's why it's not that great.
Right. No,
they don't buy into it. They're selling cars to people probably more my age, but they're that age, and they should have I think they should hire some older people who are good at communicating to be in charge or overseeing that and saying, like, keep the communication good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It's Willie from the newsroom here. Fruit of no money is actually Willie, and we talk to Willie all the time on the newsroom. See?
Oh, they just disappeared when you pointed at it. That was weird. Oh,
thank you.
Cool.
So Willie is here too. He's from, again, we've got a bunch of newsroom people here. Yeah. It's really great. We talk to them all week long.
Yes.
Melody wants one of your metal 3D printers. Put her on the list.
All right.
You have like a broken one in the back you could send her? Or?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be snatching those up.
I want one. If you break one, I want it.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of a system. It's not like a box. It's a lot of big things, but they're all office friendly, which is pretty new. No one else has office friendly stuff. But we can get into that more if you want. But I mean, yeah, you can check out the website. There's lots of
it's a fun website,
information.
fun videos on
there.
there.
Lots of fun stuff.
Kevin says, suggestion: interview Zach's dad regarding his experiences driving a Tesla cross country with his son.
I was thinking about that honestly because
I learned a lot on that trip with my dad. I had been kind of bummed, let's say, that my dad never really got it about Teslas. Like we have the Model X, we've had the Model 3, and we've gone places with him, like to dinner and stuff like that, but he's always like
very hesitant.
Not that he's negative on Tesla, but he always brings up those stories, the FUD every week. I don't know where people that age find out their news, but he's always like, oh, so I heard Tesla's having trouble this week. So we went on the trip, and the first day I made him drive the car and do his fair share of the driving. And the first day, I made him put into like first 2-hour block, he did not use autopilot, and he made some excuses like, well, it's early in the morning or whatever. But later in the day, I made him put it into it, and he was just, he kept knocking it out of autopilot because he wasn't trusting what the car was doing, and it wasn't driving the way he was used to, which is totally normal. Anyway, I was kind of bummed the first day because I was like, oh, maybe he's just not going to get it. And second day was better, but he still wasn't like able to look away from the, he was just like this. Third day though, something clicked, something happened, got to Chicago, and he was able to just kind of, he understood it. He had gotten it. Right. And by the end of the trip, this is a 6-day trip, he was like, I have to go back to my RAV4. And he called me the next day and complained about his RAV4. And it's like, oh my God, my RAV4 is old. So it was really cool to see that progression and how it did take 3 days of we drove from Boston to Pennsylvania to Chicago to Ohio and back. We did thousands of miles. I'd say it took him
miles, hundreds of miles.
Well, 2,000 miles. I don't know.
Was it?
Yeah, we did a lot of looping
okay,
stuff.
All right.
But anyway, it took him hundreds of miles of driving before he started to get it. And so, yeah, I actually interviewed him for a podcast while we were doing it. We did a 5-part podcast.
Oh, sweet.
That I'm going to be editing up. And that's more about just his life. But yeah, I think we should do a video where we interview him if we can make it interesting to watch. It's hard to, maybe we'd actually interview him while driving or something.
Right.
But that's a great idea.
Yeah. And it's, the interesting part for us is because for a while before we got Sparky, we were able to drive my grandmother's i3 because she got the first electric car in the family, right? And so she was driving around in the i3, and then she went down to Florida. We got to drive it around during the winter and, kind of get the experience with driving electrics. And then you got Sparky. And then we just didn't stop driving it after you got it. We drove it across the whole freaking country. And
which when I look back was kind of crazy because no one had really done it before. And we were just like, it'll be fine. And it was, but we didn't have any reason to believe it would be fine.
Right. There was no one else who had driven a Model X across the country at that point.
Right.
We were basically the first people to drive across the country in a Model X. And yeah, it just worked out perfectly, which was insane considering it was, not even 200th. It wasn't even the 200th Model X ever made.
Right.
So yeah, that was insane.
So Willie from our newsroom says, I'd love to know more about how you work. What is your week like preparing TTN? That's a really good question. So we record on Sundays today. So we'll be recording later this evening. And we've switched it now, so the show comes out on Monday so that it's much more fresh news.
Yep.
And then basically starting Monday, we start putting together the show for the rest of the week. So as news items trickle in from the newsroom and other places, we start filling up a Google slideshow, basically, because we use a teleprompter to help us do all this. And so we start filling up stories, and we've got, the regular stories, the lightning round, the Patreon bonus stories.
Yep.
And we just start loosely putting where we think they'd go. If it's a short story, lightning round, so forth. And then we put in way too many stories, usually. And then for some reason, right around Thursday, Friday, or even Saturday,
that's when all the good stories
start to come out. I don't know why that works out. It's like pretty slow in the beginning of the week. And
really annoying because we have usually at least 15 main stories and like 8 lightning rounds. And then a whole bunch of good stories come out, kind of pushes everything down the list a little bit. And then a whole bunch of stuff falls off the bottom and we're just like, crap, I wanted to talk about that. Or we're like, you know what, we can cut that story out.
Right.
You know, people don't need to hear about it. Yeah, kind of being that filter is tough sometimes because we're like,
it's tough because there's lots of good information out there, lots of good stories. But what Jesse and I want to do on the show is make it digestible, make it understandable. So like we could just spout off where, when, what, why, how.
Right.
But what we're trying to do is absorb the story ourselves, digest it, and then give you back what we think is the important parts of it.
Right.
Which is a little different than a lot of news programs, I think, where they're just like, this happened, this happened, this happened. And I mean, as a human myself, I don't generally like that kind of news because I like to get kind of a processed news of like,
or a story. You want more of a personal account of something. You know, that's why they're always, you know, interviewing people and they're like, so tell us what happened. Tell us what happened here today. And then, you know, the person says it. But yeah, I mean, what we want to do is put it all together, try and figure out what's important, what, you know, how can we tie stuff in? That's why the newsroom is great, because we're able to sort of put stuff out there. Because, you know, sometimes we're sitting down there and we're thinking, you know, like, how does this relate to that? Like, if only we knew how much, like, what is a comparable country's CO2 output for this amount of trees that gets planted, or that, you know, explosion or something bad that happened, you know, putting it all together into sort of like, you know, of course you don't know what, you know, 86 million tons of CO2 looks like, or what that means, or, you know, how that could get created. Putting that all together is super helpful, and the newsroom is really helpful with that. But I mean, we're trying to piece the news together into a way that's a lot more interesting than just like, you know, just the facts all.
Right.
Just like boom, boom, boom.
Right. And then Saturdays, usually we get the show even closer.
Yeah.
Sundays, we nail it down and do it. So it's a lot. It's a lot of hours a week.
Yeah.
And it's just been growing because we're trying to get you a really good show.
Right.
And we don't want to give you too little news. We don't want to overdo it with too much news. We think we found a pretty good medium, but it's going to keep evolving.
Right. And I mean, right now we're at about a 1 hour show.
And you know what I'm excited about is so we're doing this new thing this week, which is the Patreon. We used to have Patreon comment of the week, and we just kind of realized wasn't as fun or something. So we're doing Patreon question of the week. And so basically anybody at the $4 level or higher can ask us a question and we will answer it. So this week we're going to answer one. And I think that's pretty cool. So I just want to point out that we've got Anders from Sweden. We've got Will from North Dakota. Like, people are here from all over the world. Right. This is really
cool that it's this sort of global community of people. And yeah, I mean, I've been trying to think of like another perk that would kind of like be a connector of everything. You know, I was thinking Slack channel. It's not, Slack channels are good when like there's a direction. I kind of want just like a, I don't know. It'd be great to just get us all in one room. Obviously, be a lot of people, but and that'd be a lot of flights. It's not very sustainable.
No.
So I mean, some kind of digital. I mean, I've been hearing about Discord. You know, I have Discord, but I only use it for, you know, video games with 2 friends. So I mean, it's not.
What is it? It's a video thing?
No, it's a lot. It's like Slack, except you can do video or voice as well as I am, and it's a little bit less. It's more for like communities. I think it might be up our alley. I don't know enough about it.
Check it out.
We can check it out. But anyway, that's a thought. Thoughts.
So let's see. Will asks, any top or suggested accessories that new Model 3 owners should consider purchasing? Well, we're actually going to answer that on the news.
Like, if you was that Will that asked the question?
It might have been Will. I think. Did you ask that question, Will, on the question
of the
Patreon question
Patreon of the week,
because I think we're going to answer that
may
question.
have chosen that one, and
Yeah.
we put some work into it.
We did.
So there's going to be some good answers coming
We
out
hope there's good answers.
in Tesla Tennis.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. This is from DCSIYT. Can you tell me what issues you are having with the Tesla app locking up when Xing out of the loot box and signing out? Thanks, Dennis, soon to be P3D owner.
Wow.
Congratulations. Yeah, so the loot box is this little part of the Tesla app that the referral program people put in there to make their full program cool. And the idea is great, a loot box.
Right.
Sexy. But it's never worked well.
Right. And it especially doesn't work well on your app because we're on the far end of the spectrum. Like the use case that they really were not anticipating, I believe.
Because it's just to point out we are the number 3 referrer of Teslas in the world.
Right.
So
we're the number 1 in terms of how many people we're going to visit with the Roadster.
That's
which
true.
Is going to be very exciting.
That's
I don't know if any of you are on that list. I'm sure we're going to be doing.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Is
like
DCSIYT, are you on our referral list to go visit you?
That's Decision.
Because you might. I don't know you by that name, so I don't know if you're on the list.
Right.
But yeah, anyone you can even buy a Model 3 Performance Edition with my referral code.
Right.
And you can keep doing that, even though they're getting rid of some free supercharging stuff.
Even though you don't get free supercharging, it kind of makes the ride in the Roadster a little bit sweeter.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know, we've already earned 1, and we're well on our way to earning. Oh no, we've earned 2. Right. We're well on our way to earning 3.
Right.
We're not well on our, but
we can do some pretty exciting things with that.
Yeah. So the issues basically about that app locking up. I've been contacting the referral program, and they keep saying we're working on it.
Yeah.
It's an app. Like, shouldn't that be something you can fix within a week? Like, it's not that complicated. So I don't know. That's weird.
They might be working on, something else important like autonomous driving.
Okay, but here's something I want to mention. Like, a bunch of people have been talking to me about the fact that with your app, you can warm up your car or cool down your car, but you can't do it on a timed basis. Like, you can't say at 9 a.m. I would like my car to be this temperature.
Right.
What that would take, I'm not a programmer, but I know that would only take a day.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
What?
Yeah.
Why is that? Like, if I was working for Tesla, that would be done.
Right.
Like, I know Elon's not watching right now, but if he is, maybe he's hiding out as one of these people. That would be cool. Maybe he's pretending to be. Anyway, Elon, if you're watching, I would be a great chief of staff. I could get some crap done.
He would be a great chief of staff.
Okay, so Martin says Model 3 deliveries in Montreal, Canada in a few weeks. My brother is getting on his on October 5th, and he's so excited. That's awesome.
Really great.
I hear about this. Like, Jesse is busy working all day, so I didn't hear about it as much. But I hear about this all day, every day, and it is so exciting. There's so many people waiting or just about to get or just got their Model 3, and everyone's so excited.
And I'm seeing them freaking
everywhere.
Like there are some towns in Massachusetts that I drive through, and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't expect to see a Model 3 in this town, and I do, and it's just like crazy. And then sometimes I'll see like 7 or 8 of them in a day, and I'm just like, holy moly, like wow.
Mm-hmm.
There's someone at my work has one, and they haven't fessed up. I don't know who it
get
is.
Get on the PA.
So mad.
Just get up at lunch. Just
there's no PA.
Stand on a table and be like, who else has the Model 3?
I'll put it in the company Slack or something.
Yes,
at some point.
Find out.
But I mean, like, there's one parked in front of my work every day.
Because they need to be giving test rides.
My boss, by the way, has a Model S, and the chief engineer has one. There's 2 other guys at my company who have Model S's.
Do you have charging at work?
We're getting it.
Well, hurry up.
I know. But I mean, it's just like, that's fun. It's a fun company to work for.
That's really
cool.
My
CEO, he used to have a Roadster. He used to have Elon Musk's ex-wife's Roadster.
And he drove it in the winter.
He drove it. He just drove that car to the ground.
Does he still have it?
I think so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Veni Vidi Vinci Live said, will I still receive free supercharging for life using a referral code? I plan on buying a Model 3 and not sure if I should just go through the regular 5K down loan or do full payoff. What did you do? We bought it outright with cash, but we had been saving for a while to do it because we knew that day was coming and we wanted to get it soon.
We needed to get it early.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had to pull a few little stunts. But will you still receive free supercharging for life? Well, so it has to be a Model 3 P so performance edition.
Right.
And if you want the free supercharging for life, I've
I
heard.
think you've missed the boat.
I think you've missed the boat, but I've heard that maybe if you are really sweet to your delivery person and you go in there right now, and it's one that's like on the lot,
Right.
like
And
you can still get
it. It has to be like before the end of September.
But can I just talk about the free supercharging for life?
Yeah.
It sounds really awesome, right? Free
Right.
supercharging for life. That makes you feel like you're going to be able to drive this thing without paying a penny for electricity ever. But 90% of the time, you're going to charge it at home.
Right.
So yes, you're going to go on some road trips, and yes, you're going to use superchargers here and there. But it costs so little to charge the car, and I'm
Right.
talking about $7 here in Massachusetts to charge your car. So that's the equivalent of, filling your car up with gas,
Right.
full tank. So
Yeah.
$7 versus $30, $40, $50.
Right.
Is it a nice little perk? Yes. But is it something that you should like weigh heavily in your decision?
It
I wouldn't.
really isn't worth as much as you think it is.
Right. It just makes you feel good. Like,
Right.
I went to Chicago and it was free. But what would I have paid? I would have, in electricity, I probably would have paid, I don't know, less than $100.
Right.
So
right.
I don't know.
It's and and they're giving $100 worth of free supercharging.
Right.
For using people's referral codes, if you're getting a Performance or a Model S or X. When I said Performance, I meant Performance Model 3. And that's a great perk. 100 miles of supercharging, that's
$100 worth. Yeah.
I'm sorry, $100.
Yeah, because that's the equivalent of about like 15 fill-ups.
In Massachusetts.
Which is one of the most expensive electricity states.
Right.
If you're in
like,
Washington State,
yeah,
that's a lot more fill-ups.
Right.
I just want to say here, Jeffrey says he was at the University of South Alabama the other day and he saw his first Model 3 in person, and it really does look better in person. Yeah, it does.
I don't know what it is. I think we were talking about this on comments or something, Jeffrey. I think, I don't know this for a fact. I saw this video a really long time ago. It was back in like 2013 or something. Elon Musk's there. He's showing how they can do design in 3D. And I'm wondering if they used a Vive to design the Model 3 or a VR headset with both eyes. Because I think having the both eyes makes it different, makes it look way different.
Interesting.
That's why pictures of the Model 3 aren't that flattering. But when you see it in real life, you're like, wow, that's a really good looking car. Because when I had been looking at the Model 3 on pictures and stuff before we went out to the unveiling event, it was sort of like, yeah, okay, looks okay. But once you see it in real life, you're like, that looks great.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I do wonder if they used a VR headset to design it.
And he says, by the way, I'm going back to school again for computer engineering and minoring in business. That's fantastic. Those are two useful things to minor and major in. Jay says, I appreciate your dad's point of view. I cannot get my wife to try the Tesla Model S. She's just afraid of something new without being able to vocalize why. Maybe because it's expensive. Yeah, it's a cognitive dissonance. Okay, to tell your brain that if I sit in this car and I like it, then I'm going to have to go down this whole new road. So it's not that she's afraid of like getting in it. She's afraid of liking it. She's afraid of what it's going to cause. And then how am I going to deal with my other car? Like, how am I going to process that? It's just, it's hard to do this. Fortunately, we're going to be going through this change many, many times in the next, change is accelerating, and it's accelerating at its pace of accelerating. So like, we think like, oh, well, I've already gone through the major changes in my life. I got a smartphone.
Right.
There's so many more things ahead of us, folks.
Right.
So the faster you can get used to the feeling of cognitive dissonance, you actually get better at it. Like as Jesse and I have been getting used to new technologies and stuff, I'm not saying we're like perfect at it, but we're getting used to the feeling of, oh, that's how I used to feel when I was afraid of technology. Right. Let's just leap right in. I don't know. I think if you can vocalize that it is cognitive dissonance and understand what that is, that sometimes can help with the whole process.
Sure. I wonder if it would be useful to interview mom and just have her opinions on it.
Or maybe like have my father and my wife, because they both went through the exact same thing. Right. And it took them a while to get used to it. Like now my wife drives a Model 3 every single day. But there was a point not so many months ago where she was like, I don't think I'm going to do that.
Right. I'm going to keep my old car.
My Honda Pilot.
Right.
I love that thing. I'm going to just keep driving that.
Right.
And then after she drove the Model 3 for about 3 weeks, she said, and she got back in the Pilot for the first time, like in 3 weeks, she said, "Is it broken? Did you break the car?" And I was like, "Nope, that's exactly the way it was."
I experienced the exact same thing. We went on our road trip. I got back. I had a Subaru Forester at the time. I got back. I turned it on, and I was like, "Oh crap! I must have left something undone. Something must have been
right.
something must have leaked out of the whole car. There must not be any more Go fluid in this car or something, because it just felt like wrong." And again, when I was driving my friend's nice car the other day, his nice, the
VW,
the Golf R, because he needed me to drive it for him, and oh my god, it was terrible. It felt like,
and that's a good car.
Yeah, you know? It's sort of like it with the steam, like old like ships. You'd have the little thing, and it would it'd be like full power, or half power.
Rev up the engine.
That was literally just a telegraph. It was a telegraph machine, and down in the coal room or whatever was the little light,
right?
And then the guys would start shoveling coal faster or whatever. That is exactly how it feels like. You put the you're going like,
and then the squirrels start
go
in the cage.
yeah. It's scary because like you're like, "Go please," and the car's like,
help me with this next one, Jess. Footy Nut Guy says, "I was in a car with a learner driver once, and it felt like they were hopping the car rather than driving it. Would a Tesla do that?"
That's a good question. So, I mean, when you get in the car with a new driver, they're kind of on the brake, off the brake kind of thing.
Yep.
That's a good question.
Would a Tesla do that? So you mean because it's a one-pedal driving car?
Well, a little bit more. Yeah, I think with new drivers, it's going to be iffy no matter what. But I think that, kind of like what I was talking about, there's no delay. So when you put your foot down, because a lot of getting good at driving a gas car is understanding when you put your foot down what's going to happen,
right?
Because you need to know what's going to happen,
right? My daughter's going through this dilemma. She's just learning to drive now, and we have a Nissan Leaf, so she's been practicing in that. Right. But when she takes her driving lessons, they have a gas car,
right?
And she hates
Ford Focus,
right? And she hates doing that, and she's gonna have to take her test in the ICE car because the state won't allow you to take it in your car. It's some weird.
Does it not have the middle handbrake?
It needs to have a middle handbrake. And a Tesla, for instance, has the button, which they don't believe in or something.
They don't trust it.
Yeah,
it's fair.
Matthew says, "Got my Model 3 on."
But to answer that question, I think it would be a faster learning curve. I think that the learner driver, but then if they got into a gas car, they'd be even worse off. I think as we're seeing with that. Yeah.
Matthew says, "I got my Model 3 on 84, I think you meant, and live near Troy, New York."
No, 84.
Back in August. 4th. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought right.
The 84th of September.
What's the best piece of advice for winter you guys can offer?
Snow
tires.
Yes. Holy crap.
You get good snow tire, and I mean real snow tires, not this all-weather crap. Like, get a good. They cost money.
They cost money.
And here's the problem: you can either get a new set of wheels to put them on and then switch them out, and that's expensive, but it's faster. Or every 6 months you can bring it in and have them switch it, which most tire places will do for practically free anyway because they want your business. So snow tires, totally worth it. I know it seems like an investment, but you'll actually get double the wear on your 2 sets of tires anyway, and they'll wear better and longer because they're made for those times of year.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, the formulation of rubber tires for winter is different than summer.
Right.
Anyway, your car's a beast with good tires.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter which car it is. So I mean, because I have a Leaf. I only have 2 snow tires on
your front wheel.
On the front, but those are the only wheels that do anything. The back wheels don't even wear. Like, I've been keeping track of it. They don't do any. Like, they're like casters. I could replace them with casters. It wouldn't. I mean, directional stability, whatever.
Melody says, "Can you make your videos longer or cut some out to give us a perk?" Do you mean our TTNs, like our Test Time Newses, or do you mean our live streams with you? You'll have to let me know, Melody. I'm not sure which ones you mean, because we can't make Test Time News any longer, or it would basically be kind of unwatchable.
Right. That's about the level of energy that we're able to put into.
But Fruit of No Money says, "Yeah, make longer." So I don't know if they mean this live stream. You're gonna have to let us know.
Yeah.
Jesse says, "Will Jesse be playing more Kerbal Space Program?" Yeah, I totally am trying to get him to do that.
Let's do it.
I want to do more Play Me shows. Those were fun to do.
Yeah, I need to get like the BFR mod or something. There must be one already.
Yes.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Game rocks.
Steven says, "Hey, Zach and Jesse, glad to be part of your live stream every week like clockwork. I look forward to you guys unpacking all the Tesla news, so I am in the know." Thank you. We love to hear that. Hunter says, "Unless it would take too long to film." So I don't know what these guys all know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about.
I think they're talking about Tesla Time News.
Oh, I see.
It's not that it would take too long to film. It's that we would run out of energy.
Well, and also the editors would kill us. I mean, Brent and Bobby, it takes them, first of all, we're not perfect when we speak, and they cut it all out to make it really nice, and then they put in graphics and all that stuff.
Like we're not relaying any facts to you, but that we still are messing up a whole bunch. And if this was like a professional episode that we were putting out or whatever, we'd have to cut a ton of it out. You know, this hour-long thing would be down to 32 minutes. Our shows we talk for over
about half an hour longer than the show.
Yeah.
So they cut a lot.
That's all ahs, wrong things.
Or us just talking about something like, you know what, let's do that again, but I think we should talk about this instead, kind of thing. So yeah, they do a lot of editing, and so I don't think we could make it longer. We really, we've taken a week's worth of news and compacted it. So
we've thought about a perk, which would be like the clipping room floor kind of idea, where you're getting some stories that didn't quite make the cut. And I mean, you know, we have the Patreon bonus stories, and those are stories that are really fun, or stories that we can't show footage of on Tesla Time News. So if it's like a CNBC interview with Elon Musk, or if it's we'll get demonetized right away, which is fine because it's a Patreon perk and you guys deserve to see that kind of stuff. But for clipping room floor, I mean, we'd have to make the perk higher, and we don't feel very good having you see more
the stuff
stories that we thought that weren't as interesting. Some weeks we're like, oh, I wish we had that, but other weeks we're like, it depends on the week. All the news there was. So it's a tough.
Steven has a good question here. I'm a little late to this live stream. Can you share your thoughts on whether the new e-tron from Audi is viable competitor to Tesla? Can I just talk about a story that happened to me this week? Someone kept writing to me saying, stop crapping on all these new EVs, especially the e-tron. Look how sexy it is inside. And he sent me another photo of the interior. And I was like, dude, it's not that I'm crapping on it. Like, if they just came out and said, here's our car, here's what we got, I'd be like, okay, cool. That's not bad. The stats aren't bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. And I would have said, like, it's not bad. But here's the thing. You're ignoring a few things. First of all, the interior is not cool anymore. Once you get used, I'm sorry. Like, once you get used to what it can be, a spaceship with a touchscreen. I know you haven't experienced it yet, so you're still not there yet. But like, and we're all different, right? So we're all gonna think one thing's more beautiful than another. So I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm kind of right in that you can't update a button. You know what I mean? Like, if you've built this car with lots of preset buttons, that's it. That's your car.
They're pre-wired,
right? But the Model 3, for instance,
it's gone through many iterations.
And it
the
still
music
will.
button used to be way off to the side. You'd have to lean over to get the music button. Now it's right there.
But I mean, and there's just so many new things they can add to it. So for that's one thing. The second thing is, Audi, you don't have a supercharging network. You pretend that you have chargers that you can go to that are the equivalent, but they're not. First of all, the placement is not right. Tesla places them correctly in the most part.
Really smart for the supercharger network. I mean,
it's placed. You think, oh, I want one right next to my house. No, you don't. You want one that's on your way to wherever you're going. And that's what Tesla generally does well. Whereas most of the other CCSs are in like a Nissan dealership parking lot around back. And you have to talk to Steve before you can
only
charge.
During business hours. I deal with this stuff all the time. Or it's at a mall.
Or it costs money.
And it costs a lot of money.
And you have to have a whole bunch of cards and stuff.
When I have to charge my Leaf, sometimes it's free. Like, sometimes it's a charge point and it's free, and I'm just like, this is great. Sometimes it's fair pricing, and I'm like, whatever.
But do you see, I'm not picking on Audi per se. Like, I'm saying they think that this is the network that they can use. But at a Tesla supercharger, there's a bunch of stalls, usually 6 or 8, and you know ahead of time before you get there if they're going to be full. Whereas a CCS, there could be just 1. Or maybe 2. And you don't know.
Usually maybe 2.
And you usually don't know before you get there if it's taken.
Exactly.
And if it's taken, that's it.
And here's the thing that really bothers me. There's usually a J1772 plug but not a space for it.
Right.
So you have two electric car charging spots, 2 fast chargers, 1 slow charger, and then you just have a Prius Prime sitting there plugged in.
Right.
And you're like, dude, you have 100 miles of gas range.
Right.
I appreciate you trying to save the planet with us, but I need to get home, and you're blocking the only spot that I can quick charge at.
And as we're going to report today, it's
Yeah.
not just Jesse and I that feel this way. I mean, Tony Sacconaggi from Bernstein, he reported that basically, the e-tron and the Jaguar I-Pace are the only 2 competitors that are actually physically built right now that could really compete with Tesla. But they're not real competitors in the sense that, I don't know, is the Bolt a competitor to the 3? I mean,
Right.
Yes, it's got similar range. Yes, it's an electric car. But if you had your choice for the same price, which would you buy?
Right.
Like, I don't mean to be mean about it, but
one looks better, one looks
right.
and to each his own. If you want to get a Bolt, I mean, go right ahead.
Right.
I don't want my interpretation, because I'm being very honest in what I think. And I think a lot of people think that I am somehow thinking that I am the king of electric vehicles, and I say that I decree that you cannot buy a Bolt. Go buy a Bolt if you want a Bolt. If you're like, hey, you know what? I need that.
The hatchback.
That hatchback, go for it. But if you were to buy an Audi e-tron or a Model X, they're about the same price. And one of them has better acceleration than the other. Tesla's wins. The interior, to each his own, whatever. But the supercharging, really
game changer.
And
autonomous driving. AP.
Right.
I mean, the fact that just now, even if it didn't get any better, AP level 2 is such a game changer for me. Like that. Yeah. So that would be my thing.
I mean,
I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Because Fruit of the Money says, quit your daytime job. Hey, as soon as we can afford to do it, we will do it.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to, let me just say, like when it comes time to driving the the Roadster and the Tesla Semi across the country, it's going to take a long time to do that. Plus Europe. So you're either going to have to get let me do it,
or have to do sabbatical or clone myself,
right.
Or do some kind of off.
Hey, Salvador is in Mexico. Hello from Mexico. We have Tesla superchargers, and you never mention us in your trips and stuff. Well, first of all, awesome, because we've been noticing that now you've got, I think, what is it? 10 or more?
Yeah, it used to be just Mexico City, and it was sort of like a sore thumb. You're just like, how do I get there?
Right, but now you can kind of, I don't know if you can actually make it all the way down there or not. We should look into that. Yeah. But in fact, while we're on here, I'm just going to call up supercharge.info, and we're going to check this out, because I don't want to leave you out, and we should mention this more often, because what a fun trip that would be. Oh yeah, look at this. Holy guacamole. You can drive all the way down through Texas, down through Monterey, all the way down to almost the southern part of Mexico, and Guadalajara is getting one soon. Yeah, how fun is that?
Get through Central America.
Yeah,
do a whole.
That's what I mean. See, like Tesla, they didn't just stop on their laurels. They continue to put them out. Now, the sad thing is, the past 2 weeks, there's only been 1 new supercharger a week, but you can't keep it up forever.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see. Footy Nut Guy says, whatever new way used to contact viewers, please don't use MySpace. We will not do that.
Melody has a Facebook group for her Patreons.
Oh, that's smart.
We do have a Facebook group, right? Oh, but it's not for Patreons.
Right. It's just general.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I'm not know if I'm ready for that, though. I can barely keep up. Guys, I can barely keep up.
Well,
I try and answer every single email, every single message, every single Patreon message, but I don't know if I have any more time.
No, but I think what the idea here is that, like, interacting with us is great. That's what this is for. But all of you people are all your own wonderful, amazing people.
Oh, to talk to each other.
I think that's, I mean, I know for a fact that there are at least a dozen people who, if combined together, could, start a business, create, make change in the world. So, I mean,
that's a good point.
It's yeah. I mean, we did.
Could we put an intern on that? Maybe start the Facebook group.
Figure something out. Okay. Yeah. I mean, maybe we just have a bunch of different ways. I mean,
I'm going to open my
splitting is if you split it up, then people could, get split up. I don't know. Trying to figure out how to get everyone in one place.
I'm going to put it on my to-do list.
Okay.
Facebook.
We'll start with that. And I mean, we can add a Discord if we want to as well. Maybe it's an ancillary
Yeah, I don't want to be afraid of new things.
That's true.
But at the same time, I only have limited time. But
no, I don't think this is for you to. We'll put it. Don't ask Zach questions. Put it right at the top.
Don't bug Zach.
This is not the bug Zach kind of place.
Leave him alone.
Yeah. All right. Let's just while we're getting through this here.
Yeah. What's the next one, Jesse?
The other day, you saw one of your roommates. So Riley, your college roommate just got a Performance Model 3. What college do you go to?
Nice.
That's fun.
Wow. I want to know when the Model 3 Performance will be available in Sweden. Yeah, or just the Model 3 at all.
That's going to be a popular car in Sweden.
Kim just posted a video of her picking up the new P100D Model X. I know we were super jealous of Kim, except for that she got in that accident, but it wasn't her fault.
Yep.
Will says, any places you want to visit with the Model 3 or Sparky? Yes, everywhere.
Everywhere. That's
basically
pretty simple.
Yeah, we definitely want to do a Louisiana trip. Because we haven't really been to New Orleans. And where else did we talk about that we wanted to go to?
I want to go to Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Yeah, you know what? Because we have a new friend in Austin, Texas. Right outside of Austin is our new friend, Cheetah, and her fiance. I can't remember his name. Mason. They are flame artists. They go to Burning Man. Man. They do flames and they do glass things. You're going to see them actually on TTN. They shot a video, and
I'm kind of on the fence on whether I want to go to Burning Man. It looks fun, but then it looks But then
I want to go with someone who can guide me the first year. I don't want to go like
okay, but there's like the going and then the being there, but then there's also the go back to where where you're camping. And you're in the desert, and it's the desert.
I know.
It's so hot.
Right. No, I want to go with some experienced folks who are who can
some solar canopies and some AC units and some
I hear you.
Serious stuff.
I hear you. I know what you're talking about, but I think I would definitely want to go. So add Burning Man to that list. DCJit says, yes, I used your referral on my P3D white.
Nice.
Dennis, I know. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
You're on the list there, Dennis.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'll go double check later. Kevin, I like your giveaway segment at the end of the show. How about using a random number generator that matches entries? Okay, let's let him in on a secret.
Yeah, it's random.
We put the names in there, and then we're like, this is the stupidest way to do it, but I like the visuals of it. So it's a random generator. We do use a random generator.
Right.
That's just for fun.
That's for fun. Because
if we use a random generator, it wouldn't seem like it was random. I don't know. I just like it. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Kevin, good. That's what we do. Arlene says, would you support encouraging Tesla to add one pedal functionality such as the Leaf has now?
It has it. I mean, let's be real. It really does have it.
What do you mean, take away the brake pedal? What does she mean?
No, I mean, right now the Leaf has sort of a one pedal driving mode, but I think that is basically what the Tesla has.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you can change your regenerative braking setting in the Tesla too. You can set it to be less or more or whatever. So,
well, I mean, it's either standard or reduced.
Okay, what more would you want?
Nothing. There's nothing. I mean, it gives the maximum.
Yeah.
I like that it's all physics based, and it's just like, I'll give you as much regen. When you lift your foot off the gas pedal, I'll give you as much regen as possible. Whereas on my Leaf, it's like some arbitrary amount depending on my speed. And then if I start to put my foot down on the brake, it'll brake. I'll feel the thing, and then it releases, and then does regen. It's the most atrocious system ever. I wish I had B mode on my Leaf, but it's too old. But anyway, yeah, that's it.
Sean asks, on the snowier subject, where I live in Pennsylvania, where I rarely have snow, but I drive to New England for the holidays, will the 19-inch sport wheels be sufficient? Hate to buy snows for a trip or two a year. It depends. I mean, depends.
It didn't, when we tested it, and you can watch our video on it, we struggled to make it do anything dangerous or
with the snow tires. With the snow tires.
No. With the all seasons tires that we had on it.
Yeah, except
it didn't act uncontrollably. It was very controlled.
Right.
I mean, as we've talked about before, it slipped, and then it didn't just, no fishtailing, nothing like that. So I mean, it's a lot safer.
If you're just doing a trip to your folk, to visit your friends or family, in once or I think you're fine. It's just if you live in a snowy climate, you probably
Or if you have to like go up a snowy mountain or
Right.
a
Like there's people who in the winter don't have to go anywhere. Like if it's snowing, like I'm not going anywhere. Fine, then maybe you don't buy snow tires. But
Right,
if you're
just
the kind of
wait till
person who's like, I got to get to work today,
Right.
then you should. I think. Can you give Patreon unedited videos? Yeah, I mean the trouble is
why okay. It would be really annoying and dumb.
yeah, the reason you like us so much is because we're edited. Okay, because when you see an edited video, it's not wasting your time, you know. And you've got
waste your time.
I don't want to waste your time.
You pay money for us to
that's
not
right.
waste your time.
Let's see. VVVL says, I saw videos where even the regular rear-wheel drive Model 3 could go through snow easily without wrecking because of the computer-controlled each tire.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. That was, you might have seen us. And
Yeah.
We were the ones doing those videos. It is amazing what the car can do. Will says, in your opinion, do most tire service places, Firestone, etc., willing and able to service Model 3, such as, we brought it to a place and they didn't know how much to fill the tires. I'll tell you that. We got out and it was ridiculously low filled because they didn't read the damn door. The door of the car has a sticker, at least in the United States, and it tells you how much to fill the tires because you need to know the weight of the car.
Right.
It's not the tires that matter only, it's the weight of the car.
Right.
So for electric cars, especially like Teslas that weigh a lot, you need to fill them a lot. You can let out some air and get a squishier ride, a more enjoyable ride, but you'll lose range.
Right.
Anyway,
and potentially tire alignment, tire wear and stuff like that.
It takes longer when you bring a Tesla to most places because they're so busy checking it out. Like I watch them just like, come over here, man, check this out. Whereas if it's, a Pathfinder, they're just like, throw it up, put the tires on. So you would definitely want to bring it to a place that you trusted.
Yeah.
Hey guys, in a Loaner S for 2 weeks, it's locked in chill mode. Oh, did they do that to you? I'm sorry.
That's lame.
Call them up, okay? Because that's not cool.
Yeah,
you need to experience, like, you're a Tesla owner, I assume. That's why you're in a Loaner. You should not be locked. So
where in the country or where in the world are you? Because I mean, like maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's in one of those places where it's dangerous. I don't know.
Okay, well, I don't know. I've never experienced that. I get loaners all the time. Yeah. I've never heard of that. So call your service center and tell them, dudes, do this virtually, unlock it, please. Right. They might have just forgotten or something. Right. Melody says, does not have to be videos every week if it's a perk, just whenever you have it. Yeah, I mean, maybe.
But I mean, part of the...
If we were full-time, like if we're full-time YouTubers,
we could do that. Yeah.
We're just like, we're at the edge now of what we can do. Jeffrey says, all these other cars are great. I hate how they make it look like a car from Tron. Yeah, just give us a standard looking car, no crazy lights or anything. Also, they need to stop making paper cars. Totally agree with you, Jeffrey. Yeah, it's fine to have concept cars, but give us a date that you plan on making it by, and don't make it this crazy thing that you're not going to make it look anything like. Right. Whereas Tesla, when they come up with the concept, they give you a date. They may not stick to it, but they're trying. And the car looks a lot like that car.
It's when really it comes out. Similar, like really similar. Yeah. No one is like,
wait
a minute.
Go back and look at the Model X, for instance.
Right.
The only thing different was the front end, the front fascia. Right. I put $500 down on a Bolt, but decided to go Tesla instead. SS, that was a smart move. Yeah. Jay says, I bought a Bolt EV and loved it. A terrific local car, very practical and zippy, but for a long trip to my wife, 610 miles away in Louisville, I needed the superchargers, charge point, and CCS no-go. Yeah, exactly. So really, it is great for around town, not putting it down. But yeah.
Right. And I mean, I want to point out that I'm lucky that I live in the Northeast and that there are a lot of CHAdeMO chargers for my Leaf, but still, man, does it suck. Mm-hmm. You have to charge for so long, and I only get, 86 miles.
Jeffrey says, add a Slack channel that is only for Patreon members. I'm going to say the Patreon is for Patreon members. Like, you guys can all message us and we can all chat on Patreon. I think Slack would get gummed up. And I honestly don't know that I would have the time to.
Yeah, we're at our bandwidth limit. Yeah. Just trying to put out a good show every week.
Right. And I do want to talk to you guys and be a part of the community, but it's really hard. It's getting harder. That is the problem. Fruit of No Money says, you guys are the best YouTubers for green transition in all your honesty and innocence. Keep it up and give all the roadblocks to sustainability a kick in the X. We will. Footy Nut Guy says, come to the UK. I want to give a lift to Tesla before I go fully blind. Oh, get a lift in Tesla. Yes. We are during our, well, first of all, just to let you guys know, My daughter is going to be going to do a college semester abroad in London,
Wow.
starting in January.
Fancy,
And
fancy.
so we're definitely going to go visit her. And so I would love to visit some Brits while I'm across the pond. So yeah, let's talk. Definitely.
Oh, so in the new Leaf, it breaks. It actually hits the brake. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not gonna say anything either way.
Okay.
I mean, let's go for it.
Steven,
If you like it, go for it.
Steven says, "Hey, Zach and Jesse, did you guys see the report in the news that Tesla Model 3 earned the highest crash test?" Yes, we did. We're going to be talking about that.
That was
So,
great.
and let's just talk about this for a second. Lots of cars get 5-star crash frontal.
They got
It's very hard.
Every category.
Yeah, and subcategory. And I want to point out, as Elon was pointing out, he's talking about the probability that you won't get into a crash in the Model 3. And this is huge because the Insurance Institute, they crash a car, right? NHTSA, they crash a car. They see how it does. That's great. That's important. They don't do this, which is give you numbers on which car is safer to not get into an accident, because I guess that's a pretty hard number to come up with.
It's true.
But and we can't really do that for Model 3 or X or for any of the cars yet, the S or X either. But there is some preliminary data that does show that you're less likely to get into an accident using autopilot.
Right.
And I believe it.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we can figure out a way to get this data to be legit data.
We'll definitely be showing those crash videos. So if you don't feel like searching for them, you don't have to. But if you want to look at them,
it's
great.
Really good.
Really cool.
And you have to be good at watching crash videos, because
I mean, obviously the car gets completely destroyed
and it's sad and you want to cry.
Right. But and you might be like, oh wow, the car, the front of the car got all crumpled up. That's not the important part. The important part is the human body that's in there going, well, not that it's a crash system, but it would be a human in an accident. And that's the important.
The only person watching those videos that's excited, I think, is Rich Rebuilds. Our buddy Rich, he's probably like, yes, one more car for me to fix.
Yeah.
To get parts out of. And we got to wrap this up soon. So let's see. Vinny said, yes, it was your video. He's talking about the driving in the snow. So it should be okay to get the rear-wheel drive version if you only get snow some. Yeah. So, I mean, we have a rear-wheel drive Model 3. We drove it all throughout the winter. It felt great. I'm sure I have a Model X with all-wheel drive. It feels even more amazing. So I'm sure that all-wheel drive will be more amazing. Right. But yeah, if you don't need it, you don't need it. Hunter says, I hear the chill mode has been the new standard for loaners. Lots of people are angry about it. I guess here's, again, if I was chief of staff to Elon, I'd be like, you made cars that can go fast. Let them go fast. Right. Like, why are you locking it to chill mode? What's that all about?
It's ridiculous.
Anders says, some of the Patreon story should be told public. We knew about FUD and others should know. Yeah, some of the stories, most of the time, it's stories that we can't tell publicly because of usually copyright. Like, so if we're showing a video of something like from CNBC or whatever, we can't play that on our show. It's not legal, so copyright wise. So we show it to you the other way because we're not monetizing that.
Right.
And then let's see.
But I mean, does it make sense at some point to release them? I don't know. I mean, it's either, and we usually make that judgment call. We're usually like, for the Patreon bonus story, where for the most part, it's going to be like, okay, this is important. We're going to show it to everybody. And usually we'll reserve either our feelings for you guys, or it's pretty rare that, we'll put a Patreon bonus story in there that is relevant. I don't want to say relevant, but I mean, like,
that's like a big story.
Yeah, that's super important and that people need to know about. I mean, obviously it's really nice for you to hear about it, but at the same time, it only costs $1 a month. Keeping that perk level nice and low means that if you're interested, it costs less than a coffee a month. Right. It's like
for dozens of stories.
It's less than a newspaper.
Right.
We really want it to be as accessible as possible, just so that way, we're welcoming these people into our community. Right.
And it's amazing. We're up to 1,400 people in our Patreon group, which is fantastic. Because, I mean, imagine when we started this channel, if I had said to you, we'll have 1,400 people as patrons.
We didn't have 1,400 subscribers. So
right.
it's
amazing. A couple more questions, then we got to go. Arlene says, not sure the stats are available, but real injuries per car model type would be revealing. Yes, it would. If we, I don't know if the government keeps track of all this, but like if you get hurt in a, say, a Ford Focus, and then you get hurt in a Model 3, do they keep track of that, like per model? That would be really interesting.
And I mean, as far as I've heard, no one's died in a Model 3.
Knock on wood, please.
Yeah, knock on wood. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, like that's telling. There's a lot of them on the road,
right?
And I mean, it's not like they're just not.
But I mean, it's just a matter of time. But
I suppose. But I mean, it's a very safe car.
It's a very safe car. SS says, my chill loaner Arizona has AP1. My AP 2.5 is definitely superior to AP1. Less uncertain zigs and zags. Yep. I mean, we can compare Sparky with AP1 to our Model 3, and yeah, it has surpassed Sparky. And lastly, are those gold CDs on the wall behind you? I wish, Gary, those are not gold CDs. Those are CDs of artists that have recorded here. I have not made a gold record yet, but someday, maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
If maybe they won't make records anymore, right? I mean,
what's a record?
Yeah. There you go. Thank you so much for joining us today. This was a lot of fun. A lot of great questions. I love that basically the whole time we're just talking to people who are asking and sharing.
Yeah, a lot of great questions.
Felt like a community.
That was really good.
Really cool. You guys like this time? I feel like this time slot is pretty decent. Like it allows the West Coast people and some Europeans. Right. I mean, it's a little late for you guys in Europe, I guess, but we're trying to find a good time.
Yeah. So and then behind the scenes. I don't know. Do you want to see?
You know what? You know, like Alex on E for Electric, he does a behind the scenes shot, and I feel like it breaks the fourth wall. It breaks the well, I mean, we're talking to the fourth wall, but it breaks the glamour, shall I say?
I suppose,
of the show.
It's definitely not glamour.
You're seeing behind the scenes here. Like this is just us. You know, you can see our trash barrel over there. So you know, you can see our gimbal and our screwdriver behind us. You know, that's what we do. All right. Well, we got to go to the news.
Yep. There we go.
All right.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for supporting the show. You know, moving forward, we're just going to be able to do so much more cool stuff with your support, and hopefully more people will be able to join the live stream. I know that there's more patrons who are at the $8 level and above, who are so. You know, if you know any of them. Just send them our way. Send them our way. Yeah. Send them a message.
See you guys.
All right. Bye, everybody. Click on the button and the other button.